Welcome to Casual Clickson's Top 10 for DC's Brave and the Bold. Introducing this new format for the top 10 from here forward. The top 10 is still going to follow the same criteria that I've been using to rank the figures, beginning with, of course, in order to qualify to be in the top 10, they need to be able to fit in a 300-point team. The second criteria is that they must have a named keyword, and the third criteria is the more teammates they have within a shared keyword, the higher their ranking gets. Now, I say we are kicking off this format because while the top 10 itself hasn't changed much, if any, I am going to start presenting the top 10 in this format. That way I can dissect each character just a little bit more and explain the rankings a little bit better. So let's get the countdown started. At number 10, we got the number 46 Batman and Green Arrow, the duo figure. Overall, they ranked a 6.25. One of the things that helped them was their special powers and traits. If you can see, they actually have a combination of their trait, which is the Batman and Green Arrow possess the sharpshooter ability, coupled with the special power from the Dark Alleys, which is Batman and Green Arrow can use stealth and ignore other characters' stealth. It's kind of like improved targeting. This is kind of a transition when improved targeting didn't exist at all. WizKids had to use a trait to give them part of the power, which is the sharpshooter ability, and the other part of the power, which is ignoring character stealth, from the Dark Alley special power, which, as you can see, they have on 5 out of 9 of their clicks. Where to me it felt a little inconsistent, because when he gets that power to ignore other characters' stealth, he doesn't have any sort of move and attack, so he has to be stationary. And as you can see, the first half of it though, he doesn't have any willpower. He's gonna kind of have to compensate movement, wait a turn, potentially have the target move, and and the dual figure missed their chance to get in that attack. And the sculpt itself is actually pretty good looking. If you have the sculpt yourself, if you have the figure yourself, you can actually see the quality of each of these figures. And I think each of these figures could have potentially made their way into the set individually if they had, broken both of the figures apart and actually given them their own clicks. That's how good quality they are. The reason I didn't give them a 5 was because of the terrain that they're in. I don't know, I felt like they kind of rushed it, didn't put too much thought into it, and put them on top of rubble, as opposed to something like maybe having them hang out on a rooftop or something like that. I felt like it was a missed opportunity for such a great looking sculpt, and unfortunately caused them to land at a 4. Next on the countdown at number 9, we got the number 36 rare Martian Manhunter sitting on his throne of Oreos. Martian Manhunter here, one of the standout thing is the sculpt. As you can see, he got a full 5 on the sculpt. Of course, drinking that milk, sitting on that Oreo throne. It's kind of a no-brainer, really. What helped everything come together was that the Martian Manhunter itself doesn't look too bad either. If you have this figure, he does look like he could use a little more details, but overall, sitting on that throne of Oreos, it doesn't look too bad. He's drinking that milk and he has one like he's gonna eat it. I think this is a great sculpt. And the other two things that helped this Martian Manhunter break into the top 10 was its movement, the fact that it has 5 move and attack powers out of his 9 clicks, 2 of which are hypersonic speed and the other 3 being charge. And flight, of course, goes a long way. And the other thing was the potential damage. He does have some solid 3, 4, even 1 click of 5 damage. Didn't give it a 5 though, because it did have low attack values. Well, 10 nowadays is kind of average, and the 9s don't give me much hope in me succeeding in hitting any of those attacks. However, the potential is still there, so I did still give him a 4. Moving on to the next one, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Here finishing at a 6.25. Now you may be wondering, because I've already ranked 3 characters at 6.25, how Blue Beetle and Booster Gold ended up at number 8, whereas Martian Manhunter and Green Arrow and Batman finished after them. It's pretty simple. It's actually the keywords one of the keywords that they share in common was, Justice League International, Martian Manhunter, and Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. And Batman and Green Arrow that finished at number 10 have the Justice League of America, which has slightly less members than the Justice League International, according to HC Realms. The Justice League International has 111 members, whereas the Justice League has 100. Like I said, slightly more, and it helps. And the fact that Blue Beetle and Booster Gold have Extreme Justice and Super Buddies on top of Justice League International gave it that slight edge, because he can fit in just a couple more teams. And that's what I was talking about. One of the criteria on how these characters slowly move up their rankings. And at number 8, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Here, as you can see, it's pretty much all the way throughout. They're an average character, but average is sometimes good because that means that they're worth their points. They're worth their the amount that you're going to pay for them. You're going to get exactly what you pay for. And I think this is what this character is, because he doesn't have such a great high damage values. Neither are the attack values, but you're going to get a lot of mileage out of him from his Super Buddies Forever special power, where he modifies the attack value of +1 by anyone who shares a keyword with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold or can use the dual attack ability. I think that power alone is going to buff your team enough to warrant you wanting to play Blue Beetle and Booster Gold on your team. That one power alone, I think, is worth squeezing him in your team. Plus, Perplex Outwit doesn't hurt. He's got an 8 range, so he can stay nice and safe and hidden and keep buffing your team from a relatively safe space distance. Moving on to number 7, we got number 53, Super Rare Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. They finished at number 7 because Gotham City actually has over 400 members according to HC Realms. This is, if you do an advanced search on HC Realms and search the keyword Gotham City, you're going to see they have over 400 results. I think around 440 results. So definitely the keywords, as you can see, she finished at a 3 instead of a 2, the way the other characters had been finishing. So that little bit helps her break, kind of work those tiebreakers over the other characters and bring her up to number 7. And of course, the reason she broke into the top 10 were, as you can see, she rated 5 in 3 different categories. The first is utility. So many things you can do with her and so many things that she does. She can help you become immune to poison. She can use poison in smoke cloud, break terrain with that reclaiming the land for nature special power. And the Mayhem Harley style with the potential to outwit up to 2 powers as opposed to just 1 it can go a very long way. And of course, that is directly tied to the special powers and traits, which is another reason why she got a 5. And, sticking on with utility, the Batman enemy team ability, even though she has 10 attack, it can still help out members or, allies that have the Batman enemy team ability, at least buff up their attack. So she just has a ton of utility. She can have a ton of roles in a team and she can fit them pretty well. And the sculpt, of course, being a 5, Ivy's plant life, kind of carrying Harley, carefree Harley at her best up there. That's kind of a perfect representation, very thematic representation of these 2 characters and their personalities. Great job, WizKids, on this sculpt. At number 6, we got the Justice Society's own super rare number 55 Shazam and Black Adam, both of them belonging to the Justice Society and sharing that mystical keyword. What helped them break into the top 10 with their figure rating of 6.5 was their potential damage. First of all, as you can see, they got a perfect 5 in potential damage. Just the values alone should warrant him getting those 5. Add to that he can use close combat exploit weakness, and he can use those powers with hypersonic speed thanks to that fury enough to destroy countries. Special power that he has on his flight, on his movement. Followed with super strength with probability control. energy explosion with 6 range, so he has plenty of ways to deal that damage. Lots of potential damage hitting there. And the special powers and traits, I really love that the way WizKids designed the reluctant team up. And remember that this figure rating is specific for Shazam and Black Adam. They did each receive their individual ratings on their own, and unfortunately neither of them ranked in the top 10 individually. But as a dual figure, combined with that reluctant team up, and the other 2 special powers actually come right in a pretty good spot. I wish that the Fury Enough to Destroy Country special power started in this began in the starting click, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Even then, it's still very solidly placed on top of the Call Down the Lightning when he runs out of that move and attack on the second half of Shazam style. It doesn't matter because he can now start attacking from a distance. So he has some pretty cool powers on top of the reluctant team up. Great design there by WizKids. What was lacking in the sculpt was some detail. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell from Shazam and Black Adam sculpt, and you can pause and rewind if you like. They're missing details on their face. They look kind of plasticky. Well, I mean, they look too plasticky is what I'm trying to say. And the survivability there, I would have given them a 5 because of all those damage reducers, but because I did also want to keep this true to the 300-point format. In a 300-point format, they're very limited with the Justice Society, and the Justice Society is actually why they even scored a 4 on their survivability. Because outside of a 300-point team, it's easy to just squeeze, a Justice Society member in there with him to bring his defensive values up. Whereas in a 300 points format, he is very limited to only one character with the Justice Society that you can actually squeeze in with him, and he can't even copy that team ability because the other character doesn't have that team ability to copy anyway. So he ranks in between a 4 and a 5. With Shazam. And moving on to number 5, we got the rare number 42 Robin, Gotham City keyword, kid keyword, and martial artist keywords. But that's actually not why he ranked where he did. As you can see, he finished with a rating of 6.75 because similar to Booster Gold, where he is a ranking 3 or just about average on his ratings. And like I said, sometimes average is good because that means that that's what they do, and that's exactly what this Robin does. He gets the job done, starting with point cost efficiency. With 43 points, he didn't get a full 5 because nowadays you can get better bargains at 43 points, but Robin here is still fun to use. He's got a lot of utility. I say that because he's a great character to mastermind damage to. He really is. He's pretty consistent throughout. He can take a hit. He can act as, with that special power leverage, it gives him some extra uses to help reposition enemy figures and get him out in the open or something. On top of that, he can also hold his own. He's got Quake, Exploit Weakness, Close Combat Expert with decent attack values for a 43-point character. So he's got lots of moves in him, that little Robin here, Damian Wayne. What holds him back is his range. He's got 0 range. And the final thing that did help him in his ranking number 5 in the top 10 was his sculpt. It's a pretty good sculpt. The only thing I wish it was a little bit bigger, but if you actually look at it pretty closely, you can see a lot of little details, and him being crouched down, being covered by that hoodie is just a nice little touch. That's why this Robin ranked number 5. At number 4, we got Superman and Flash. Superman and the Flash, number 49, dual figure from Brave and the Bold, ranking number 4. Let's break down why. They have a figure rating of 7. One of the things that helped them was their potential damage. With hypersonic speed, decent attack values in 11-10, 11-10, as you can see that cycling throughout. And Perplex, in case you want to bring his attack or damage values up. It just helps bring his potential damage value up. Not to mention his damage power, the one where you get to choose Superman or the Flash. If you choose Superman, he does get a modified damage value by +2. So meaning that he has 5 damage values. It's no joke being able to deal that much damage on its own. Not to mention the fact that he gets charged with that, so he can still move with the wing symbol. So that means that he can still Move a solid 4 squares over terrain, over rooftops to hit you for that damage value. Moving on to the special powers and traits. Very thematic trait, keeping pace, and then you get to choose, and the winner is special power on their attack symbol, which lets you choose between the Flash or Superman, and then you activate their special powers, which one, depending on which character you choose. I thought that was very thematic, very well done by WizKids. Easily gave them that 5-point rating. And their movement, hypersonic speed on the first half, and on the second half you can choose between hypersonic again or charge with the wing symbol. It's just very solid movement. Those 3 things help them greatly break into the top 10 and actually end up at number 4. At number 3, we got Mr. Miracle and Oberon, number 54 super rare dual figure. These dual figures, they're breaking into the top 10. They're running rampant in the top 10. What set Mr. Miracle and Oberon head over slightly above Superman and the Flash is their keywords. Justice League International has, again, slightly more members than the Justice League of America. Even though they got similar 7-point rating. The sculpt on this one, I want to talk about the sculpt, that even though it does look pretty flimsy, pretty cheapy, I do like the presentation at WizKids, and I guess the overall theme that WizKids try to do with Mr. Miracle and Oberon here, showing Mr. Miracle shackled, bound, and what looks like he's about to be entombed in some sort of metal coffin. Being presented by Oberon is just a quality sculpt, a quality idea. Maybe not the best looking, but a great idea nonetheless, and that's why I gave him the 5. Their movement was the other reason they're in the top 10. As you can see, they got solid 5 points on their movement. They've got No Chains Can Hold Me, which means they can use charge and leap climb. And during their charge, they ignore the effects of hindering terrain and automatically break away. The Prison Break special power helps the rest of your team within 6 squares ignore plasticity and succeed on breakaway rolls from 2 to 6, which is, helps the overall movement of your team as well. And the defensive special power, your head is my jumping off point, another way for him to get around by him giving adjacent friendly characters telekinesis to be able to move him into position. So solid 5 there for movement. And utility, being able to perplex, tie up characters, maybe even deal some damage thanks to the dual attack. He's got a lot of uses in him, as well as the special powers and traits that I discussed are solid 4 here for Mr. Miracle and Oberon. And at number 2, we got the number 48, the Flash and Green Lantern dual figure, super rare, from Brave and the Bold. As you can see, they finished with a figure rating of 7. What set them apart from Mr. Miracle and Superman and the Flash, who also finished at 7, was their keywords. They actually have more than one keyword. The Justice League of America, yes, that's the same keyword as the Superman and the Flash. However, they also have Central City and Coast City on top of police keyword. The police doesn't really make an impact in their score here because, again, I do try to focus on named keywords. However, Central City and Coast City, that's 2 more teams that he didn't have to build from. And 2 more teams to build from as opposed to Superman and the Flash and Mr. Miracle and Oberon. And moving on to the utility of this character is pretty good because, as you can see, they ranked 5 points with that 2-man Justice League special power. I like just the idea, and it's very thematic, and I like the idea that, between these 2 characters, they can create any damage power. I would probably lean on range combat expert if I'm trying to do some damage. Probability control, outwit. So you got some pretty good choices there to choose from with 2-man Justice League. Gives him a lot of utility, especially with that double TK, the barrier that he has towards the end. So many uses for this one. It's a pretty good HeroClix. Special powers and traits, again, I can't talk enough about the 2-man Justice League. The Brave and the Bold, where they lets them use telekinesis twice in a turn. And the who's carrying who now is not that great, but hey, it's another way to give him, it's another option to move and attack. So I'm not going to discount that. And that actually, of course, helps with their movement. And their movement, they got a solid 5 because they fly. They can use charge the first 3 sections of their dial. In between, they can use phasing to break away automatically if they need to. And then the last 3, they can use hypersonic speed. Just, solid move options coupled with flight. And 2/3 of the dial is a great, gives them a lot of movement. Especially for this character, adding the telekinesis adds even more movement to your team. The sculpt here, unfortunately, didn't help them get that 7.25 rating that they were looking for, because I actually pulled this figure, as you may have noticed in the unboxing, and in trying to get Green Lantern into kind of a better position than what he came in, he did unfortunately snap off from the sculpt. And it was just, it was great. It was a great idea by WizKids, but it was very poorly executed. And unfortunately, it prevented it from being a solid 5 rating based off of that personal experience, seeing how flimsy that sculpt was, unfortunately. And at number 1, for the top 10, Casual Clixon's top 10 for DC's Brave and the Bold is number 100, Batman and Catwoman, the dual figure. Yet again, another dual figure. But that's okay. That was kind of the theme of this set, right? Starting with a figure rating of 7, but how did they get number 1 spot over all the other ones? Of course, Gotham City, I've already talked about that keyword, has over 440 options. So even though they finished tied in the ratings, that's what I use as the tiebreaker. How many teams and teammates how many teams and teammates do they have access to? And the 2 things that it ranked a 5 in was the sculpt. It honestly has the best sculpt in the set. I've seen all these HeroClix up close and in person, and this figure has the best sculpt in the set. Just very well made, very solidly constructed. It's a nice and heavy floodlight that he's got there with the bat symbol. This Catwoman looks great. The only thing I would say to people, to anyone interested in getting these characters and getting this figure for themselves, is to make sure that Batman's ears are protected, seeing as how they do stick out a little more than usual. They are a little flimsy. You may want to watch out for that and keep them in a safe area, or maybe like in a box or separate from all the other HeroClix. And it is actually a pretty good HeroClix to display anyway, so it's a win-win right there. And the special powers and traits, I gave it a 5 as well, because it just gives you a lot of options. With I already stole the real one. After objects are placed, you may remove an object placed by an opponent from the map and place a standard light object in the same square. It's very rare to see a power like that, so I love powers like that they can catch an opponent completely off guard. The double pounce can lead to a lot of potential damage. And that's, of course, a special power that they have on their speed, which lets them use their dual attack ability as a free action. Some pretty solid powers there that give this Batman and Catwoman dual figure a lot of playability. Which incidentally, of course, add to its utility, which it ranked a 4 out of 5. And the movement also ranked 4 out of 5. Even though he does have leap climb all the way throughout, he only has move and attack from the first half of his dial and the second half of his dial, while he doesn't really need move and attack. And the second half of dial, he could use something like charge. He could have benefited from that, seeing as how he has 2 exploit weakness clicks. Charge would have gone a long way to maybe pushing him towards that 5 movement, but I understand why they would give him leap climb instead. So there you have it. That's the top 10 for DC's Brave and the Bold. For Casual Clixon's Brave and the Bold, I hope you enjoyed this new format, as this is going to be the new format going forward. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Your views and likes and subscriptions are very much appreciated, as of course would be any shares. And as always, thank you so much for watching.